Today we're going to be talking about the Kiwi Ears Z Reviews Serene. This is a closed back planar magnetic headphone coming in at under $160, so let's get into it. The overall build of the headphone, being that this is under $200, it's fine. I don't have a whole lot of complaints here. I do wish that inside the pad that there was more room. I do find my ears touching the edges of the pads at times. But outside of that, that's the only thing I have a problem with when it comes to comfort. The cable does have some microphonics. There is that. I kind of wish that after the Y split that it was no longer cloth cable. I think that would solve this. But you know what? I don't think you should be moving around with this headphone anyways. I think this is a desk headphone. I don't think it's a headphone you should take out and about. So the cable's fine for me personally. I'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, the overall build and accessories, it's fine. For the price, I think it's perfectly fine. So why do I say you shouldn't take this headphone out and about? Well, when I put this on my head, because there's no front venting whatsoever, there's some pressure buildup, and you get this driver crinkle when you put it on your head initially. Now, when I'm listening to it, I'm not having any problems. It sounds fine to me when I'm listening to it. But if I'm moving around and it's moving on my head and the pads are compressing at all, I will get that crinkle. Do I think that is a reason to avoid buying this headphone? Not really. Like, only if you plan on using it out and about. But the other reason why I wouldn't personally use this out and about is it requires a stink ton of power. Like, a crazy amount of power. I can't get it to listening volume at all with my Apple dongle. Most headphones I can. Like, the majority of headphones I own, I'm able to get them to listening volume on the Apple dongle. I can't. I need more power. The XP-2 Pro, I'm not able to get it quite, like, I'm able to get it like just barely to where I'm comfortable, but like I'm almost maxing that thing out at high gain. So this almost requires a desktop amp of some sort with a decent amount of power. So I think this is just a desk headphone. I don't think this is a headphone that you should take out and about. I think it's one that you should just have at your desk and enjoy it there. Now, as for how it sounds, I think it's tuned really well. Part of that being, it has a really enjoyable bass. Like, it's super warm. The bass is like, it is a warm bass where you got a little bit of that upper bass, a little bit of that lower mids happening, and you have a lot less ear gain on this than a lot of headphones. I love it. I actually really enjoy the frequency response on this, and that's where I think this shines. It's a really good sounding headphone out of the box. I don't really need to EQ it. The treble sounds nice for me personally on my head. The ear gain is not shouty. The bass is thick, enjoyable. The rhythm section is something you want to dance to. I like the frequency response on this a lot. I really like it for club music. I really like it for club music. I like it for rock and roll, but I think this is best for like electronic bass heavy music. I really like it for that. It is quite enjoyable. So does that driver crinkle, like, and that driver crinkle is solved by changing the pads with something that is perforated. So when I change the pads out with something like either suede or that has perforations, that driver crinkle goes away, but it heavily impacts the tuning. These pads have tuning foam in them. So if you change the pads and the pad you change it to doesn't have tuning foam, you're getting a completely different frequency response. And then like, you just lose some of the bass. And yeah, that's kind of why I like this headphone, is the bass. So for me personally, I like the stock pads. I'll deal with the crinkle, and it's just when I put it on my head. It doesn't happen when I'm listening to it. It only happens when I initially put it on my head, and then I go about editing my photos, doing my thing, and it's not a problem at all. So being that this is under $200 and that there is a flaw there, but that flaw is because they were trying to achieve a tuning that is really enjoyable, to be quite honest. I can forgive the flaw in that sense. I still like these headphones. I like it. Just know what you're getting into. Just know that This is not a headphone you're going to want to take out and about. You're going to need a decent amount of power. You're going to want to be listening to them relatively still, not moving around, so you're not getting pad compression, which will cause that crinkle sound. But outside of that, I think they sound excellent. Like, I really like the frequency response on these. They're tuned really well. So it's just one of those things where it has a flaw, but it also has a lot that's good about it. So I don't know. Given that it again is under $200, it's not bad. It's decently priced. I'm sure with the right mod, if you're just able to put the littlest amount of front venting somehow, you could solve the crinkle. All the problems would go away, and all will be fine. But just it's tough to just do a tiny mod, swapping the pads was too much. There was too much change to the frequency response. So yeah, I might try something with that later, but for now, I'm just going to enjoy them how they are, because I like them. I like the frequency response on them. I think they're tuned really well. Yeah, I do like them. Really good for electronic music. If you have any questions for me, leave them in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and until next time,